Hey, what's up? This your boy Elijah. Welcome back to another edition of Humble Dad. Glenn's is how I see it. We got a special guest today that has, I was able to reach out to him, and within a short amount of time, he got back with me. I don't even know this dude like that, but it seemed like he's an excellent character guy just based on the conversations that we've had. He's a husband, a dad, an entrepreneur, and none other than Mr. Jamel Gibbs.
What up? What
How-
up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you today, brother?
I'm doing well, man. I have had an incredible day today, and then we capping it off later this evening. We'll be going to softball and baseball games. So my day is good.
Cool, cool, man.
What's
So
up?
what's up, man?
So tell us a little bit about yourself. About 30 seconds or so.
30 seconds or so. Well, like you said, man, I'm a husband. I've been married for 15 years. I've been with my wife for 21 years this year. We went to the same junior high school. We started dating when I was 19 and she was about 19. Um, I'm a couple of months older than she is. We have four daughters. And I'm a well, I don't want to call it a stay-at-home dad. We work from home. We run three different businesses from home, pretty successful businesses, and doing pretty well with it, man. I've been semi-retired since I was about 30 years old. I'm 40 now, and I love what I do. I love helping people and uh, continuing to build my businesses the way I do it. Very little workload, maximize profits, man. That's what we do.
That's what's up. Hey, we're gonna get into that possibly. I really appreciate that. So we're gonna get into the questions. The first question that I ask all dads is, what do you feel like the difference between a father and a dad is? Or do you feel like there isn't a difference?
That's a really good question, man. I think a father. I think anybody can be a father, but not everybody can be a dad, if that makes sense, right? So I think I can contribute to. Let's say I wasn't a dad to my children. I think I can contribute to making uh kids, but that makes me a father. That doesn't necessarily make me a dad. I think the dad part comes when you start spending time with the kids, and you do everything for the kids. You go out of your way. Your life is designed and lived around taking care of your responsibilities for your kids. So I think a father, anybody can become a father, but not everybody wants to put in that time, that effort to be a real dad at the end of the day. So that's just my 2 cents with that.
That's what's up. I appreciate that because individuals would have a different take, but they always come back to the same premise about the responsibility that's needing to be there for that kid. So I want to kind of go back into history for yourself. Talk to me about like your situation as it relates to growing up with a dad or without a dad, some type of father figure. Kind of take me back probably around elementary, then junior high.
Okay. No, so my dad has always been in my life. I think that's part of the reason why, you know, you look at it. I think that some of us have a statistic. If we're not, if we don't grow up with a father, chances are we're not going to be dads when we get older. I've heard that, and I've seen it. I've seen it for myself, right? But I think at the end of the day, uh, what it really all boiled down to for me was my father was always, although he wasn't, um, my father was always there. You know what I mean? He was
Mm-hmm.
always supportive, and he was always around. Although what I was about to say was, although he wasn't always present because he was doing his own thing, he had to, work. And he's a DJ, right? He was out making money. He wasn't. He would come home late sometimes. He was always there. You know what I mean? So if I needed, you know, if I needed some correction, my father was there. If I
Yeah.
just needed to holler at him, my father is one of my friends today. He just moved down here. I live in North Carolina. He moved down from Brooklyn. That's where I'm originally from, and
Okay.
we would lift weights with each other every day right now, right? So and my father's about 60, he's in his mid 60s. I'm not going to give his age away.
Yeah.
But and at the end of the day, he was always there, and he's still like a friend to me today. And when he tells me everything, we tell each other, you know, we'll go have a beer every once in a while together, right? But I think that was really important when I was growing up. You know, back then, rather than working out and lifting weights together, we would play basketball together. And he used to always tell me, hey, if he said the day you beat me in basketball, that'll be the day you ready for the NBA. I never beat him. Now, if we were playing football, we would have a different outcome, right? But
it's hilarious.
But I think although materially my father, because he had a seasonal construction job, he didn't make a lot of money. Materially, he couldn't be as supportive as he would have liked to. Okay. I think that pales in comparison to the physical aspect of my father being there. So in turn, I think that kind of spinned off into me becoming the type of dad that I am today. You know, I think that it's important for people to understand that when a dad is in the household, it creates more dads, right?
Wow.
So I think that's a powerful statement right there.
Yeah, expand upon that for me. What do you mean by when there is a dad in the house or father in the house, there breeds or expands more dads?
So think about it, right? If I'm a, you know, and I'm talking about where I come from. I grew up in the projects, right? So I come from a rough area, and there's a statistic that if you don't have a father growing up, or if you don't have a dad growing up, you're going to end up as a statistic.
Yeah.
Right. And that could have been very true. It happened to pretty much everybody I grew up with. Right. Some of them became good dads, even though they didn't have their dad there. But the majority of them that had a father, even if the father didn't live in a household, they became good dads. It's like it's almost a wash all the way through, right? Like it's common. So I have a friend, I'm not going to mention his name. His father didn't live with him, but he's a dad today. And you know what else he does? His father has always been there. So what he does is he takes care of the community kids now.
Oh, wow.
Right. So he has a little basketball program that he runs and he's in charge of. All of my friends that had their father in their life grew up to be good men today. Right. The ones that didn't, I noticed most of them went to jail. Right. Yeah. They had some time or they're dead. And these are guys I grew up with, killed in the mid-teens, early 20s. And again, that's just being a product of the environment, right? Yeah. But I think it all stems from your father being in your life. Sometimes it's both your parents, but we're talking about dads here. Your father being in your life and your father living with you as well, because that's another statistic we could talk about. We can dig into that, right? Because the ones who their father was in their life, but the father wasn't living with them, naturally the same circumstances passed on to them as they got older, right? So they probably have multiple kids from different women. Yeah. Whereas opposed to me, all I've ever seen growing up was my mom and my dad. My mom passed away in 2017 from cancer at 53, right? And they were married for 40 years, right? So my point is, my dad has always been there, and in turn, naturally, I have one wife and I have 4 kids with one wife. It's just a spinoff of what I've always seen growing up. Now, could I have gone the other way? Absolutely. But this is the statistic. I'm a living statistic of what happens after you've seen something your whole life, and now you're living the same. You're a living example of what you've always seen.
Absolutely, because we model exactly what it is that we see. until we see something different that would say that requires a change, right? And so for me, not having a dad in my life, it was my uncle who was outside of the house. But if correction needed to be had and my mom couldn't do it, my uncle was the person that corrected us, and he's like 14 years older than us. But that didn't matter because he still carried a big stick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we would fall in line. And so I also can see how when as a kid, as a dude not having a dad, my transition to get to what I would deem success took a longer time because I'm trying to figure so many things out as opposed to having a model to kind of follow. So that's kind of like what you're saying. When did you recognize that your dad was being influential to you? Because I know as a teacher, I used to be a teacher, middle school math teacher, and I know students don't like discipline, but they like discipline. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. So when did you recognize what he was doing was benefiting you?
I didn't really appreciate it until I became an adult and a dad myself. And
Oh, okay.
I reflect back and I'm like, okay, given the circumstances that I'm in now, or as I was growing up, I could see where my father had an influence on me at certain points in my life, right?
Okay.
I would get into some trouble. My father was always there, right, to correct the situation, like to correct me,
Okay.
saying, okay, maybe I was wrong, or maybe I put myself in a certain situation, or maybe I shouldn't have been there. My father was always there, right?
Okay.
But going back to what you said in regards to having uncles, I think each of my uncles played a role in me growing up as well. Each of them, I have one uncle that went to college, one uncle that went to prison, and one uncle that has a lot of different
Wow.
kids from different women, right?
Okay.
So I learned something from everybody that had some type of influence. All the adult males in my life, I learned something from them as I was growing up on what to be or what not to be, right? And just kind of answering your question with my dad, I think the appreciation for having my father, even if let's just say my father had let's take everything off the table and say that my father had zero influence on me as I was growing up. That's not the case, but I'm just saying let's use that as an example, right?
Yeah.
Just my father being present in my life will have a major impact on my circumstances today.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Even if I never learned anything, even if we never played those basketball games, even if, no matter what the circumstances are, just being present in my life changes the circumstances. Because if he wasn't present, I would probably be just like everybody else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was present, so I'm present. And that's something you learn from fatherhood, from being a dad, right?
Yeah, that's what's up. I appreciate that you telling me about the connectedness of you and your dad, and how even if he wasn't like active in all of those activities, as long as he was in the building, if you will, you knew he was in the building.
My father came home every night, no matter what was happening, came home every night. So naturally, I got to be here for my wife. Even if, that wasn't the case, I'm still going to be here for my wife. But I think that had a major impact, a major influence on me.
Absolutely. Then did you see how this is not necessarily a dad question, but it kind of is, I guess. When your dad and your mom were in the house together, do you remember how he may have interacted with her, and then that transferred over to how you interact with your wife?
I think because my parents were together for so long, I mean, they really were inseparable. That's the truth. That's one thing I will say. They were inseparable and almost like best friends. And like I told you before we jumped on a call, my wife is literally my best friend.
You did, yeah.
It's crazy because, when it comes around full circle, my wife is literally my best friend. We talk about everything. We share everything with each other, right? And we've never been apart for 21 years. right? So
Yeah.
you think about that. My father and my mom were best friends in a
Yeah.
sense, right? They never spent any time apart from each other.
Yeah.
And it's the same exact way with my wife and I. Man, we're talking about this, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm catching like goosebumps talking about this because if you think about it, man, this is stuff that I've never actually thought about
Oh, okay.
as we're having this conversation. I never thought about the connections and how all of this stuff worked, man. But this is kind of
That's the
deep to
goal.
just hear
That's the goal.
myself really reflect on it and think about it.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about it, everything comes full circle, man. It really
Yeah.
does, you know.
For sure. That's then like I told you, I said before we got started, I said that's the goal to hopefully we'll find something that you haven't thought about before and to build upon. So I want to transition to the first kid. So kind of talk to us about the ages. What are the ages of your girls?
So I got a 15-year-old daughter. I got an
Mm,
11-year-old daughter. I got a 7-year-old daughter, and I'm not sure if you can hear her in the background there a little bit, but I have a 1.5-year-old daughter. All of them are gonna advance in age this year, man. So my 15-year-old is gonna be 16 in a couple months.
Okay.
And a month later, I'm gonna have a 12-year-old. She's 11 now, and then I'm gonna have an 8-year-old at the end of the month, and a 1-year-old. She's gonna be 2 in July. So
Listen, brother.
we got
Hey,
July, August, September, and then December.
listen, man. Hey, we similar boats, bro. I told you. I got four. We had
4
11.
girls.
No, not four girls. I got bookend girls, and
Okay,
then two in the middle of boys.
got you.
And then ours are not as old, but we're in that same range.
Mhm.
We're at 11, 9. Well, 11 will be 12, 9 will be 10, 7 just turned 7 in January. And then we have a 2-year-old that's about to be 3 this month. So, hey, listen, maybe we can share some type of ideas on how we raising these individuals.
Yeah,
But
man.
but I want to talk about like the first time your wife told you that she was pregnant, and then transitioning all the way up to the day that you got to hold your first kid. Do you remember it at all?
Oh man, it's incredible. First off, when we it wasn't planned.
Okay.
Um, so my wife and I are in a situation where we were living together before we got married.
Yeah.
Um,
It happens.
so
Yeah.
it's common, right? Especially
Yeah.
these days. So we got
Yeah.
married a year. We got married about a year after my daughter was born.
Okay.
But it was funny because I proposed her at the baby shower. I wanted to make sure it was I wanted to make sure number one, I wasn't gonna have my wife out there like that. You know,
Okay.
I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that she was gonna, we went into this thing the right way. Plus, like I said, man, my wife is my best friend. I love her. I'll give my wife my heart today if she needed a heart to live.
That's
Right.
what's up. Yeah.
But as far as my kid, when she first told me, I was really excited. But there's nothing, absolutely nothing like holding your daughter for the first time. So I made a promise to my daughter the day she was born, and I made
Okay.
that same promise to all four of my daughters as they were born. I said I will take care of them for the rest of their life. They will never have to rely on anybody for anything physically
Mm, mm,
except God, right? But
okay. Yeah.
I'm talking about in a physical sense, they would never have to rely on anybody for anything. And I'm
Mm,
keeping my promise,
yeah.
through my businesses, I'm able to do it. But I made that promise, and that's what motivated me to really take things to another level financially, even. When you
Mm,
start having kids and you know that you're not only responsible for yourself anymore, you're responsible for a living, breathing human being.
yeah.
It changes the game for you, man.
Yeah.
It's like you just go into a different mindset, different mode. I was in my mid 20s. I was bodybuilding. I was in great shape. I was making a lot of money in my mid 20s,
Wow.
and you know, I still bodybuild today. I just
Okay.
don't do bodybuilding competitions anymore.
Okay.
I still run my businesses, but my focus, everything changed the day my first daughter was born.
Do you remember like what was the psyche behind? Because I have mine. My thought process definitely shifted as well.
Mhm.
Like what do you mean that it changed? What based because what I'm asking, the reason why I'm asking is because I want to the individual that's thinking about not being in their kid's life. I want them to reconsider based on our thought processes of when we holding the kid.
So a couple things, man. For me, if I had to give this a little bit of thought, honestly, man, I think it changes the way you focus on things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not about you anymore.
Okay.
If you really care, right? If
Yeah.
you really care, it's not about you anymore. Because as a man, unfortunately, not saying that this is right. I don't condone this at all. But a man can pick up and leave. 9 times out of 10, a woman can't.
Yeah.
And that's not fair, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you made the baby together, you need to raise the baby together, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I truly, the way I look at this and the way I'm thinking about it, I think that it just changes the way you focus on things. It's not just knowing that it's not about me anymore. I'm responsible. Like I said before, I'm responsible for this person who didn't ask to be made.
Yeah, right.
Right? She didn't ask to be made, right?
Yeah.
And you have fun making her.
Yeah.
Now it's time. Now it's time to put in that work and raise the baby the right way, man. That's what. And I love my kids, man.
Yeah, it's obvious.
I wouldn't change my circumstances for nothing, man. I just wouldn't.
That's what's up. It's obvious that you enjoy and love your kids. I saw a picture you recently posted where you were saying, like, what I'm saying, sometimes I don't know if you was in your front yard or whatever, but
you talking about from the other day?
Yeah, the picture or whatever.
Yeah, we were sitting in front of my house, and I said, it's not because I work so much, but then again, I really don't. I work a couple of hours a day, because I when you're a business owner, you kind of put yourself in a position to free up your time, right? And that's exactly what I've managed to do. It took me a long time to figure out how to do it the right way. I come from the school of hard knocks. I didn't go to college or anything like that. So everything I know financially or learn financially has been through trial and error.
Yeah, they don't teach you that in college either. Anyway,
no, they can't teach you that in college, man. But yeah, we were sitting in front of the house, and I guess I said something along the lines of, it's not all about work all the time. You got to know when it's time to basically give your family some time as well. Absolutely. And I think as a business owner, especially those listening who may own a business, you understand what I'm talking about. You can literally grind yourself into the ground trying to build a business, but you got to find balance in your life. There has to be some type of work-life balance. If you don't have that work-life balance, you're never going to be happy. And honestly, when you have that work, and this is what I discovered, when you have that work-life balance, you make a lot more money because you stop thinking about making money. You know what I mean? So yes. When I was grinding in my mid-20s and my only focus was on making money, I struggled the most. When I stopped thinking about and I made, just to tell you a little bit about my business, I'm a real estate investor. I made my first $1 million by the time I was 25.
Oh, wow. Okay. Right? Yeah.
But here's the kicker. I lost everything when the market tanked by the time I was 27. So I had to rebuild.
Wow.
Right. Okay. And I made it back before I was 30 multiple times over. Okay. And that's how I was able to semi-retire by the time I was 30. But the point is, I was able to full-blown retire if I wanted to at 30. But I feel like as an entrepreneur, I'm going to work for the rest of my life. This is something I love to do because I'm working with this. I'm not working with these.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're working with this, I'm working from the neck up.
Yeah.
I'm not working from the neck down. So there's really no physical strain on me. I could think my way into anything I want and instruct other people to do it. But, that's getting besides the point. The point in me saying that is, at the end of the day, when you call your own shots, I truly believe that you have to find that work-life balance,
Yeah.
because if you don't, you're gonna grind yourself. And when I figured it out, that's when things changed for me. I started making more money hand over fist by not working, because I'm putting other people responsible for making more money for the company,
Yeah.
and that frees up my time to be
Yeah.
able to go out and spend my time with my family. Why do people work? Think about that, man. Why do people work in the first place? What do
To
you
get
work
money. Well,
besides getting money? What does money provide? Money is just
oh, a
one thing I
tool. Yeah.
learned. One thing that I learned over the years is money provides one thing: experiences. That's it.
Mm.
Money provides experiences. So why do people work? What's the experiences that you're looking for? You personally. That's a question for you now.
Okay, so we didn't flip the conversation on Humble Dad to the host. All right. So what I look for when I was working, I was looking to I was always looking to figure out how can I have my own business.
Okay.
For
Why?
me, because I wanted freedom of my time,
There you
and I
go.
really enjoyed
Pause.
my time with my
Pause. That's the
yeah,
answer right there.
yeah.
That's what everybody wants. People don't care about money. People only think about money because of the experiences money provides for them,
I see what you're saying.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
What do people want most? If you never had to work a day in your life for money, or if somebody listening, watching this or whatever, never had to
hmm,
work a day in their life for money, what would people ultimately want? It's time and freedom. That's it.
yeah, yeah.
That's it. That's all
That's
people
true.
want.
That's true.
Happiness, and happiness comes from that, right? You can experience more love from that, right? You could create more memories from that, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot that comes from time and freedom. If you got the time and the freedom to do whatever you want, other good things comes from that. So that's what people want at the end of the day. And that's what I experienced once I started uh getting into the work life balance portion of my life. So I'm
yeah.
able to spend that time with my kids and my wife.
That's
And
what's up.
even my kids right now, they're homeschooled. So we spend our time together,
Yeah.
literally.
How long y'all been homeschooling?
Since the pandemic started. Before that they weren't, but I think it's kind of a blessing, man, that the I hate to, not saying that the pandemic was a blessing. I know a lot of people lost their lives, but it was a
Yeah,
blessing that the kids were home from school during that
yeah,
time frame,
yeah,
because now we discovered that we're accomplishing the same things, if not more, and we're not held back. If we wanted to get up and take a trip to Africa today, or go to Dubai, or go to China, or go to Hawaii, or wherever, they
yep,
can still be in school for
yep.
a short period of time, but we can still get the experiences. That's what I want to provide for my kids. Experiences more than money. It's experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I want to pause, like not pause, but add on to what you're saying because you're giving a lot in a small amount of time. So the part about the memories is one of the things that is a big thing for us. Last this past Christmas, um, before that, the previous Christmas, I had asked my kids would they want gifts or did they want to have something to do
Mm,
for the coming up Christmas, and they all said, well, my 2-year-old can't speak like that, but the other three they said they wanted experiences, and so what I did was save up each month, and then when the week of Christmas got here, we just planned out something to do each day of the week, and so when I did that, and I said, y'all know y'all not getting gifts though, right? And it was like, that's cool because we get to do these things that we will remember. And I was like, that is what it is that I'm looking for. And so yes, memories is what matters more than any material
yep.
that you can bring to the table, right? And then the second thing that you said, you talked about homeschooling. We've been homeschooling for 4 years. And so when the pandemic took place, as far as schooling is concerned, there like we were still in school, and I'm a retired teacher, if you will, and I saw the value prior to the pandemic of how we can go anywhere at any time, but I couldn't since I was a teacher. They could, But now that I have moved to full time in my business, I can say, well, I can do this anywhere. Matter of fact, we took a trip when everybody was in school in September to Alabama, right?
Yep.
And so I'm with you. I think more people should try to transition to that homeschool thing for sure.
I think also when the homeschooling exists now, my kids have been multiple places, different countries and stuff like that. But I think it's important for them, like, so we're going to LA in a couple weeks, about 2 weeks. We're gonna
Yeah.
be going out to LA because my mother-in-law is having cancer treatment. Same cancer my mother passed from.
Wow.
My mother-in-law has, but she's doing well, and she's
Okay.
getting her treatments out in Los Angeles. So she flew out there for a couple months. My point in bringing that up is the time and freedom part, right? She's in Los Angeles. We're able to say, okay, we just decided this about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. Hey, why don't we just get up and go to LA for a few, maybe a week or two?
Mm.
Right? If the kids were in school, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
Right? Time
Yeah.
and freedom. Time and
Absolutely.
freedom. Tie it all ties in.
Good.
So we're able to just pick up and go. And then I can show my kids, I can educate them by showing them the world versus staying local, and they're seeing things from one perspective, right? So I want them to see third world countries. I want them to see what it's like not to have food. Because they have food, right? We're pretty well off. I want them to see these things, and to me that's the experience is the best educator there is.
Absolutely.
That's how you teach your kids, man.
Absolutely. For sure. That's why I share my experiences with them. I lived in India for about 6 months, and I share that experience with them, as well as, we go to, like, our church has a pantry where people bring food, and then we feed the city. So they're familiar with that. And then we also, we sponsor some people, so they got to see that, and then we explain that to them. And then there's a box, I can't think of what it's called, but it brings all the like different snacks from different countries. And so that's a family time event for us where they're able to get food from, I guess, snacks or whatever from different places, and they get that experience. So there's different ways, right, as you're saying, to drive these experiences that they need to have to give them a holistic view of what the world looks like, and not just where they are. Right.
That's right.
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say, man, I think that there is really, because I live by 4 pillars, man. So I'm not perfect by any means in all 4, but I'm pretty close, man. And one of them, you can never be perfect in, because we will never know everything there is to know about God, right? So for me, it's I put my spiritual life first. That's ahead of everything else. So you put God first, right? I put my health and fitness after that. Now, most people would look at me and say, how can you put your health and fitness before family and all that? Well, if I'm not here, if I'm not healthy, how can I take care of my family? So it's
good.
It's my spiritual life, put God first, and then my physical, I got to take care of me, right? My body, right? I think it's selfish if you don't take care of your body, man. You abuse your body, and everybody that's relying on you as well. So I really eat right, and I really exercise 6 days a week. I've been doing it for years. Sometimes I go up in weight, sometimes I come down, but I'm pretty consistent. And then I put my family before my finances. Right? Finances is the least of my worries. Even if I had zero money today, my financial aspect of my life still would be the least important. Because again, it goes back to the point that I was trying to make. When you stop thinking about the money part, everything else falls right into place. Right? The money comes. When you don't chase money, they call it paper chasing, right? You stop chasing that paper. Honestly, man, you stop chasing that paper, it's going to try to chase you. It's going to start following you, because you're not showing that you want it. So it's going to want you. And that's basically how that works.
Wow.
So my finances is the least of my worries. My family is equally as important as, my physical health, but I put my physical health first because if I'm not healthy, I can't take care of my family.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I mean?
dope.
So I teach my kids the same thing, man. I teach them how to eat right. I teach them how to put God first. Teach them how to take care of themselves.
Mm.
And then I also teach my kids going into the family part that we're a team. We're
Okay.
not individuals, right? So we got a point guard, we got a shooting guard, right? We got a power forward, right? We got the forward
Yeah.
and we got the center. We
Yes,
even got a
okay.
6 man, right? The whole point is we're a team. We
Yeah.
operate together. There's no me. This is all of us, right?
Mm.
If we go, give you an example. If we go when we were in St. John's, the U.S. Virgin Islands. I don't know if you've ever been to St. John's, but we stayed at the I think it was the Westin. It was a hotel it was like it's the only hotel on the island. It's a resort. I think it's the
Yeah.
Westin or something like that. And we on the island when you're there, they have these trucks. They call them I forget what they call them. They don't call them cabs or taxis. They got a certain name, like it's like a journey or a rodeo or something like
Yeah.
yeah, something crazy like that, right? I
Yeah.
forget what they call it. But when you get on these trucks, they charge you, I think it's $10 a head. Don't matter how far you go, right? So if
Okay.
you could be going a mile, they're gonna charge you $40, $50 if it's 5 of y'all,
Wow.
right? So we paid that a couple times and it's fine, right? But then we decided, hey, why don't we experience walking through from the hotel to downtown? It's only a mile, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's deceiving though, because that mile, man, you got to go up this hill, and they literally have poles on the side of the
So
hill.
you can hold on.
You got to hold on to walk up. So this is where it got hard. So it was easy walking up to the hill, and at that time we didn't have my 1-year-old,
Okay.
right? So it was just in fact, my 7-year-old was about probably 3 or 4 years old. So this is where the
Oh
team
man.
part comes into play. So I stopped and I said, we got two choices. We could turn around and go back to the hotel, or we could keep going. Everybody decided to keep going as a unit, right?
Yeah.
So we're a team now. So now we got to fight to get up this hill, and it's 90 degrees outside. I'm sweating. So I had to throw my daughter on my shoulders, right?
Yeah.
And I had my 7-year-old, well, my 11-year-old, she's about a little younger now. I had to hold her by the hand while I'm holding on to the pole.
Yeah.
My wife is with my oldest daughter, and they're together. So, but we're locked in as a unit. That's the point, right?
What a picture. Yeah.
We got through it as a team, and I taught them something. If we stick together, we can accomplish anything as a
Yeah.
team. We can't do it individually. So I just thought
Definitely.
that was a really good experience. There's a lot
Yeah.
of other stories I could share about that type of stuff, man. But I think it's important to teach your kids that, because kids fight, they argue, that's
Mhm.
a family. It's not a family if it doesn't happen, right?
Right.
But more
Yeah.
important than that, they have to know that that they should love each other and
Yes.
that they operate as a team. That's it.
That's good that you say that, because the struggle that I had recently is that like my 11-year-old, she doesn't like playing with anybody other than on her own time,
Mhm.
right? And so she loves to read, so it's easy for you to do that by yourself, right? And so what I did was I gave them a consequence, if you will. The two boys, they're gonna play each other regardless. Like they together, they might as well be twins. And so I told them that from 3 to 4, y'all got to play together regardless, whether you like it or not. You got to play together, because it is important for you all to have a bond as brothers and sisters, right? Because we do family night, we do game night. They'll play all of that. We do board games, like we'll play that. But my daughter, if it comes down to it, and they ask her to play with her or play with them, she won't play with them. So I had to make it a priority for her to see that you're going to regret this time if you do not make yourself available to them. Noah, and so we had this conversation because I'm a big proponent on conversing and giving them an understanding of what I'm saying and explaining why. I like explaining the why behind whatever I'm asking them to do. And so what I did was one day I asked my son Joshua, I said, like, what is it? Why do you ask Gianna to play with you? And he said, because like when I'm bored and she comes play with me, like my fun is I'm back, like I have fun when she's around. And when she heard that, she started crying because she was like, I said, why are you crying? She said, I feel bad because I didn't know that they was having so much fun with me. And I said, well, how are you with them? She said, I have fun too. So now from 3 to 4, they got to play with each other and they having a blast. Right. And so it comes back down to what you're saying. You're trying to build that connective for them to connect that they are one. So I'm almost finished. I wanted to add, did you want to say something to that?
No, I was gonna say, man, just to add on to that, just think, just think about it, man. As parents get older, the kids only have themselves. The parents grow, they grow old and die off, right? So the kids have themselves, and then that passes down. So all you're really doing is creating a generational love, and teaching your kids how to have love and pass that love down. This is called family, man.
That's dope. Like generational wealth or generational love.
Yeah, that's all it is. You know what I mean? We everybody wants to pass generational wealth down, pass down generational love, man.
That's dope. So yeah. So I want to ask you a question. Since you're talking about your daughters, talk to me about the characteristic that you have that's inside of each one of them.
So I have my oldest daughter. Man, she's a little bit of a germaphobe.
Okay.
I used to be the same way, right? And she's very meticulous with how she do things. Very neat when it comes to like her room, very clean. But in addition to that, she can be simple minded sometimes as well, right? So I definitely have some of that. Right, I got some simple mindedness going on, right? Where I'm not, she asked a lot of questions. I was the same way. Everything was a why when I was growing up, right? But she's also very hardworking, and I see that characteristic. She definitely got that characteristic from her dad. Don't tell her mom that.
Okay.
She's probably watching this thing like, huh? No, but my wife is definitely hardworking as well. But my second daughter, she's more of an entrepreneurial minded individual. She tries to see how she can hire people to do everything for her. She really does. I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, because I always teach my kids. My mom started me as an entrepreneur when I was 7. I never had a job, right? I had a newspaper route, which spinned off into different ventures, and ultimately, I've always worked for myself, right? So my daughter, I'll give you 2 stories. A couple years ago, I had them, they wanted to make some extra money. I don't give them, I teach them, right? So they don't know this, but I'm giving them real estate as they turn 18, 19, 20, but they're going to work for the real estate, even though they're going to have the real estate already. I want to show them how to earn the real estate, but they're gonna first, the way I'm doing that is I'm gonna provide them capital to fix and flip, but I'm gonna teach them what to do with the money after the fact. I'm gonna take a portion of the funds from them, which is gonna go back towards the rental properties that they're gonna have, and basically they're each gonna have 10 rental properties paid for by the time they're 18 and 20 years old, right? Just to start them off, right?
That's what's up. Okay.
I didn't have that. You know what I mean? I had to earn every penny, but I don't want
because there are people that don't have one.
Right. And I don't want them to, the whole thing is I don't want them to think that they didn't work for it. I don't want them to think I gave it to them. So I'm making them work for it. And they don't know that though. I'm like, well, you've been working this amount of time. Here's what you've been able to accumulate. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I want to approach that. So I want all of them to be financially set before they're 25 years old, right? But my whole point in bringing that up is I'm not going to force them to do real estate. I just want them to understand business and how money operates, right? Money should keep moving, right? A lot of people want to save money. That's fine. You only need a portion to live off of. Then you need to keep it moving, reinvest, right? Money should not sit still. That's not how currency works. So I'm teaching that to them. And my one daughter, she likes to dance and sing. And if you want to do all that, that's fine. But you still have to know how to do this, because if that doesn't pan out, you have this, right? In fact, this is going to make it easier for you to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So because you have the time and you're not stressed out financially, and you don't have to take, if you want to become a singer, you don't have to take anything from anybody.
Yeah.
You can make a conscious choice on your own. So you're in a power position all the time. Right. My one daughter, a couple years ago, I had them out. They have this big movie night before the pandemic. They had this big movie night downtown every Friday during the summertime. And there's hundreds of people out there, if not thousands, right? So I set up a water company with them. And I said, you're gonna sell some water. You want me to buy you things, you're gonna have to earn it. Right. So I funded the first case of water, right? They made some money from it. They split the money up. They reinvested the money and kept doing it, right? Then we were I live in a pretty quiet neighborhood, but sometimes you get some traffic. So I put them over there by the street. I was there with them, like the bodyguard, and they sold out of there. Every time they did it, they sold out of their water, right?
Yeah.
But now they learned how money works, right? And my point in bringing that up is the daughter, who's now 11 years old, she made it so that she was the boss and was collecting the money and then paid them their paychecks. All right. She also did another thing she did when she was in school. So she had like a little pencil selling business. They would sell pencils for like 50 cents. She would get a pack of pencils for 10 cents each, sell them for 50 cents. She had the other kids in school selling the pencils. Right? They'll get she'll buy it for 10, she'll give them 20 cents, and she'll keep 30 cents for herself, right? So just little stuff like that, entrepreneurial minded. And she's always thinking, how can I? She hired her older sister and her younger sister to work for her. That's the whole point, right?
That's a boss move right there. Yeah.
So she definitely gets the entrepreneurial spirit from, like, I'm all the way like that, right?
Yeah.
If I could pay somebody to scratch my back, I would, right?
Yeah.
If I could pay somebody to put my pants on for me, I would. I'm always trying to delegate something, and that's exactly the way she is. Then we got my 7-year-old daughter. She's a questions asker, and she's always excited about going places, right? And I'm the same way, but she definitely asks a lot of questions. And then the baby, she's just boss baby, she just wants at one, man. It's amazing. But I think all of our kids are a perfect conglomerate of my wife and I. My wife is a perfect complement of me, right? So where I fell, and I tell people don't believe me when I say this, but it's the truth, man. It was like we were meant to be together.
Oh yeah. I understand that.
Where I fall short, my wife is strong. You know what I mean? And completely the opposite. Where she falls short, I'm completely strong. So we like the perfect unit. And each kid has a little bit of both, which makes them strong team members. And then we become a stronger team. We're like the Chicago Bulls in the 90s, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Are you saying you're joining on me? Is that
we like Lakers over here, man. What's going on, man?
Hey, I appreciate that. We're gonna get into our last couple of questions.
No problem.
Give me a number between 1 and 45.
1 and 45. Let's go with 4.
Okay. What did you like or love about your dad?
What do I like or love about my dad, man? My father's my father is, it's funny because I was just talking to my wife about this. I said my wife, my father is a very aggressive person,
Really?
but the most soft-hearted person you would like. He love hard, man. It's hard to explain. My father loves hard, and he's aggressive when it comes to family. Like he will put it all on the line for his family. That's probably one thing that I picked up from my father, and that's one thing I appreciate about my father. He's definitely a loving guy, man. Like he loves his family hard.
That's what's up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was that was
That's
pretty
it.
much it.
I bet. Give me another number.
So let's say 30.
What was the first band or concert you remember going to?
Man, I think I've been a couple places. I used to be a rap artist in the late 90s myself before I came into business.
Okay.
But if we're talking about going to,
Yeah.
I think the only concert I've ever been to was a couple years ago with my daughters. There's this band that they like, and the band came to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
And my daughters suckered me. It's an all boy band, of course. And I'm sitting in an all boy band concert.
That's awesome.
And hey man, it was a good time, man. And it was the day I think it was the day after the smallest baby was born. It might have been it was definitely no, it might have been a couple weeks later. It might have been a couple weeks after she was born. So me and the three oldest girls went.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
They sitting there singing those songs, and I'm like, I'm clueless, man, because I don't know the band or the songs. But there was a ton of people there, so they're definitely popular, man. So
that's what's up. Last question. Last number. What you
got? Let's go with 20.
All
no,
right.
You know what? Let's change that.
Go ahead.
Let's go with 20.
Okay. Let's see. I think you already. Well, I'm gonna give you a different number. Give me a different number because you already answered that question about your reaction to your wife being pregnant.
Okay. So let's go with you know what? I'm 40. Let's go with 40.
Ooh, okay. What do you remember, if you do remember, about your grandfather?
I've met my grandfather. Okay, so I had one of my grandfathers passed before I was born. He died at 44 years old, man.
Oh, wow.
He had a heart attack. Yep.
Okay.
They said he was shoveling snow and he caught a heart attack. Wow. But then I heard a recent story saying he was hit by a car while he was shoveling snow, and he didn't tell anybody, and he never woke up that night. I'm not sure how that story went, but my other grandfather, the only memory I have of him, I had to be maybe 5 years old, but he passed away. I think he had cancer, and the only thing I can remember of him is every time I probably saw him 2 or 3 times that I can remember. Okay. He was always laying in the bed and either sleeping or in a lot of pain.
That's not like yeah.
That was all I remember. Now, ironically, my grandmother, she just went to a nursing home yesterday. But she has dementia, so she doesn't remember anything anymore. But that's what I remember about my grandfather.
Yep. That's what's up. Thank you for answering those questions. Now we come to the tough question that has been waiting for a moment, and that is, what TV dad do you feel like you resemble the most?
You know, we resemble
or characteristics, however you want.
Characteristics. Yeah. I don't know, man, because I asked my wife this before, as you know, and she said she don't feel like anybody looks like me or resembles me, but as far as personality, I don't necessarily watch this show, so I'm not sure what she's talking about. But Michael from My Wife and Kids.
Okay.
Michael from My Wife and Kids, and her reasoning behind it, I wrote it down. She said her reasoning behind it was he's a businessman who loves his family hard. and he does a lot for his family. So she
Yeah,
said that's pretty much like what I am.
that's what's
And
up.
and I
That's
never
what's up.
thought about it, but I guess I gotta watch the show to see for myself.
Yeah, he was Damon. Is Damon Wayans? He was
Damon Wayans, yeah.
Damon Wayans with Tisha Campbell.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
and
know the characters, but I don't really my wife, it's one of my wife's favorite shows. I don't necessarily watch it that much.
yeah, I don't watch it that much, but he has been used before, and they had a different take of his characteristic,
Mm.
and so that's cool that she pulled out a different characteristic of him. One guy said that he was that way because he used to he would tell jokes and make fun of his kids and have fun with his kids, but also be serious when it's time to be serious. He also allowed his kids to fail and then was still there for them after they failed. And so, it's a really good depiction of him.
I don't necessarily tell jokes on my kids, but I definitely do that with my wife. Again, she's my best friend, so I play around with my wife a lot, and my wife loves to laugh.
That's
so
what's up.
She's always laughing. So,
sound like your wife and my wife would get along because my wife loved to laugh too.
Yeah. But as far as the businessman and family and loving the family hard, I guess I would fit that characteristic.
Absolutely, you can tell by just being here today. So I really appreciate that. And the last question is that how would you like for your kids to remember you? What would you want them to say about you as a dad?
More important than anything, that their father loved God and their father loved them, and I do everything. I live my life to be able to make sure that my kids are protected, man. That's it.
That's good stuff.
And that this is a man who loves his wife as well.
Come on, Doc. That's big, bro. That's big. Yeah. Hey, because you are setting a standard in which it requires them to go find somebody that is like dad, and that individual will have to be a really dope dude to carry the hand in marriage of your daughter. So that's what's up.
That's right.
And so
if I had sons, I would want my sons to kind of emulate me, but I want my daughters to see in their father what a man should treat them like. And that's basically how I treat my wife, man.
That's what's up. Well, I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to move out the way, and then you have the last say on today's show. So here you go.
Well, first and foremost, man, I appreciate you for having me on. It's been a lot of fun. I've never done a podcast like this, and I'm happy I was able to come on this show. I'm honored that you invited me, and I'm looking forward to doing many more in the future. I guess if you guys want to check me out, I have a business channel on YouTube. It's at Jamel Gibbs, youtube.com/Jamel Gibbs. Check me out across all social media platforms as well. And let's connect. I love to have fun and love to talk shop and talk business and link up with other people as well. So I appreciate you guys for watching this.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate the time. Y'all like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and we out here. Deuces.
Peace.